Arguably, the biggest change that has come with College Football 27 is the introduction of macros, those preset line of scrimmage adjustments that you can do with just two clicks of a button. And as you may have noticed throughout our campus tour series, where we go through and get a win with every single team in the game, I use those quite a bit. So it seems like a good time for us to kind of take a step back and look at the different macros I have set. We'll do that just here in practice mode. Then at the very end, I will go through and show every single adjustment that is involved with these different macros. Now, we did one kind of a week ago, just kind of going over what they are, how you use them. Now I've actually gone through, and this has been more of a macro adjustment simulator than it's been a football game for me so far. And we have got 10 different macros set up for defense. These are all to be used in like a base nickel set. Pretty much anything with 4 down linemen, 2 sub linebackers, and a slot corner on the field will be able to use all of these different ones. So we'll hop into practice mode. Doesn't even matter what team we are. Like I said, we'll go through all of this at the end. I'll get my face out of the way and just kind of scroll our way through here so you guys can see everything we got set up here. So we'll just hop into training mode. And actually, before we do that, I do want to give a special shout out to the 3 newest members of the campus tour crew. The membership here on the channel starts at just $5 a month. It is by far the best way to help support the channel, everything we got going on as we continue to grow here throughout College Football 27. So thank you to Slim 2169, BF 46270, and Caption King Gaming. Truly support you guys. Thank you very much for that. So let's just hop into practice mode. We'll just take whoever's on the left here. It'll be Kansas in this example. That's what I like about these macros. There's a lot of things I like about them, but how I went and set these up, you pretty much want to do just thinking of a base formation, because we're going through and using every single team in the game. We needed, if we're going to use macros, they have to be something that's going to be in just about every single defensive playbook, and base nickel sets are going to be one of those. Or if you're doing it for a dynasty or for ultimate team and you're set on, we're running like 6-1 for example, very easy to set up macros for the different plays in there. Any symmetrical formation like that, because when we get in here, we will notice that we do have to do a few of them with, depending on where our slot corner is, to the right or to the left, because that changes the different adjustments we have to do elsewhere. So let's just hop right on into it. We can just go down to nickel, 2-4, wide jack. I'm not sure if mint will actually work because this uses 3 D tackles and a left edge, or some of our more cover 4 adjustments use a left edge or a right edge. So we want to make sure we're in a set with that, and that should be a 2-4. This will be absolutely perfect. So let's hop into nickel 2-4. And the number one defense we are going to be calling here is going to be out of cover 6. And here's another great plus. I'll just go ahead and set our shell like we're in a real game, shell of cover 2. And really the big plus for me with these macros is we can call cover 6. We'll put them in just whatever on offense, doesn't really matter. And we can do nothing and just run a match coverage out of this. Whereas before, if you wanted things like zone drops on your field, that messes with the match. So if we do want to keep cover 6, we certainly can. But for now, we will turn that off by hitting LB or L1 is going to bring up your macro menu. Our slot corner is over on the left. You can tell it cover 6 because it's where the quarter flat is. We will do our cover 6 to the left, and again we'll just see this is our standard cover 6 play art. Just 2 clicks of a button, L1 or LB, and then X, and now this is our cover 6. We've got our line pinched, we've got a stunt going on our defensive line, we've got a contain on the left instead of the quarter flat and soft squat. Those are both in 10-yard hard flats, and I think I have like an outside third, an inside quarter, and a deep half. Why? That part I'm not entirely sure, but I was messing around with doing different things, and this one kind of seemed to work the best for me. Now, zone settings, let's see. So if we can hold up LT, you can see you have the conservative, ultra aggressive, aggressive, ultra conservative. For most of these, I'm going to have them on aggressive for everything but the cover 4s that we'll talk about in just a second. I do think the aggressive seems to work the best overall. So we got all of that all set. Like I said, just 2 clicks of a button. Doesn't get much easier than that. Ahmed Hardy might just run all over us here. Oh no, good, it is a pass. So then we take the middle, we come down here, and hey, we didn't even get dunked on. What a time to be alive. It's just like with any defense, you kind of have to know where your user is going to have to go. We know we're helping out over the middle on this one, so we're taking that tight end. You might have been able to throw a deep one there, but that safety was getting over there. That deep half was reacting, was getting over there. Might have been able to throw that, would have been a little tight. They tried to go to that left fade, not there. So now we got our cover 6 slot corner over on the right. So we just go L1 and then A or LB. I am on Xbox after all. We have the same adjustments, just flip to the other side. Whereas if we reset this play here, we're back in just our basic cover 6, right? And we wanted to do the same thing we did over on the left. So I'd hit X and cover 6 left. And that gets a little bit messy now. We've got a couple flats over on the right. We've got no deep zone on the back right. It doesn't look very good. So that's why you want to set up 2 different ones depending on what side your slot corner is going to be on. If you're going to set up macros for a defense like a base nickel. But again, just 2 clicks of the button. We got the stunts, we got the contains, we got 10-yard hard flats, we got the deep zones. We are set up. We are ready to rock. Let's get on Watson. Now, sometimes it does kind of seem like they match. You know, we do have like the zone it thing turned on for all the cover 6 adjustments, but those are only what, bunch, trips, and stack. So in some of these sets, it does kind of seem like the cover 6 sticks around. So pistol bunch, corners off to the right, set our cover 6 up to the right, and just like that, ready to rock. Really like how this defense has been playing. We only really ran the 1 game with the full macro setup that we've got going on here. Just absolutely, that was a terrible play, Missouri. What are we doing? But the 1 game we did, defense was feeling pretty gosh dang good. So that is going to be the one you see us do by far more than anything else. The other one we're going to do quite a bit is going to be out of a Tampa 2. And again, these are all based in plays that obviously are going to be in a lot or almost all of the different nickel sets, no matter what of the, I don't even remember how many, 27 or whatever it is, defensive playbooks that are in this game. They should pretty much all have some version of a cover 6, a cover 2, and a cover 3, and a cover 4, all available to us. So for the Tampa 2, this is one I don't do if it's left or to the right. You 100% can. But to me, it doesn't make a gigantic difference. So we have 2 different cover 2 setups, both turning it into a Tampa 3. You do one with the Texas stunt, then I have one with a contain in case we are going against somebody who's trying to run with their quarterback quite a bit. So we do Tampa 3 Texas. We'll see this one gets turned into a middle third. And this is why you could set it up for if it's the left or to the right, because maybe ideally you'd want this to be Watson out on the middle third. So you just have to put it on your other sub linebacker instead. But essentially, it's just going to be this 10-yard flats, default depth hook curls, a Texas 4-man stunt up front, and this linebacker actually dropping back into a middle third. So I'm debating if we want to change the safeties into outside thirds, but I do kind of like them in halves because it's better protection against like deep bombs. Deep halves are much harder to manipulate than like outside thirds are, for example. So I don't hate the idea of just keeping them in some deep halves. So then we got our Texas 4-man, we got everything set, we're all ready to rock. I don't know if the 4-man stunt's very good, and that throw certainly was not very good. That was just dead at us. We appreciate your work there, brother. Whoever, gosh, it's that guy from UCF, Brown. No, that's the guy from Rice, who I just talked about in a different video. This is Austin Simmons, the transfer from Ole Miss. So that's one of our Tampa 3 Texas stunt is one of our different macros. Then we have a Tampa 3 contain. Same base idea, you know, you're going to have 1 sub linebacker dropping back into a deep third. He's going to be on a hook, other slot corner still on a hook, but this time we just have a left Tom 2-man stunt going between our 2 defensive tackles, then contains on each side. And if you're really concerned about a quarterback running, you can set your macro to have a QB spy on one of your D tackles, or you can just do it yourself really quick. Just hit Y is going to bring up all your defensive adjustments, select one of your defensive tackles, and you can just throw him on a QB spy. Now that quarterback's not going anywhere. Obviously, it's going to take away the stunt the 2 D tackles are doing, but it's really going to make it difficult if this quarterback does want to decide to take off and run. Because Austin Simmons, I think, does have some wheels, maybe not the most. Oh, I was just too slow with the user there. Just a touch too slow with the user guarding over the middle of the field, but still, that was a pretty good defensive play. So those are our 2 in Tampa 2. Let's go to, I know they have a cover 3 cloud in here, but I want to show cover 3 sky, because cover 3 sky is a play you're going to see in a lot more defensive formations than you are a cover 3 cloud, and I love cover 3 cloud. I think that play is phenomenal. So to work our way around that, we set up some macros to change a cover 3 sky into a cover 3 cloud. So let's go ahead and call cover 3 sky, put them in a random defense. And this one again is going to depend on where the slot corner is. He's off to the right here. So we go LB. Then you have to use your right stick to get to the second page. If you have 9 or 10 macros, they're going to be on the second page. My brain just wants to hit D-pad. Terrible idea because that would set up a totally wrong macro. So right stick over to the right, bring up our second page of macros. Now we're going to go sky, cloud, right. We're changing cover 3 sky into cover 3 cloud with the slot corner on the right. So go ahead and hit A there and bang, there we go. Now we have a cover 3 cloud instead of a cover 3 sky. And why I like to do that, I like the flats to be coming from the corners. I never really like the flats coming from the safety, especially if we then want to take this and like shade underneath or something to take away something really quick. Having it be the two guys closer to the line of scrimmage instead of it having to try to be a safety to fly down doesn't work great for me, especially since I love to run that cover 2 shell. Try to disguise the defense as much as possible. So we got that one set up to go from a sky to just a regular cover 3 cloud. These are all going to be default zone drops, but we have a 3-man stunt going on our defensive line, a contain going on over to the left there. Which now that I'm thinking about it, I should probably actually flip this because I do like to have the contain to the strong side of the formation. Typically, if the quarterback is rolling out, he is going to go like to the bunch side more often than not, but this is a lefty quarterback, so I don't know, but I do think that is something we would have to look at potentially flipping. A little return motion going on over there. We're just going to stick right over the middle of the field here. Try to take as much of this way as possible. And where was our contain on the left? Where was our contain? We had one over there. We all saw it, but let's see how Simmons... Oh, our contain decides to go inside. Great move for a contain there. Just go ahead and rush inside and let... That's just EA. That's just an EA thing. That was actually a great play call for the defense that they had out, for the offense they had out on the field there. So instead of waiting for them to come out in the right formation, let's just go ahead and flip our cover 3 sky. So this is going to be how it looks. Again, we have that safety coming down at the curl flat. Personally, not the biggest fan of those. So we would just get our macros up and set our sky cloud to the left. And there we go. Now we have a cover 3 cloud out of cover 3 sky. Now what we really could do from here is add on our cover 3 cloud macro if we wanted to, because we do have one set for a cover 3 cloud. The only changes this is going to be is our cover 3 cloud macro uses a 2-man stunt and double contains, which kind of dumbs out the defensive line a little bit. Then it sets both of our flats to be on 10 yards. So we go ahead and do that. Now we have our 10-yard flats, our hooks on default, and it just doesn't contain quite right, but that's something we can go through the settings and change and make sure if they're all set the same. It would really just be for setting 10-yard flats if we wanted to do that quickly at the line of scrimmage, which isn't a bad idea a lot of the times. I do think default cover 3 cloud does very good, but in certain situations you want those 10-yard flats. That covers our cover 2, 3, and cover 6. The last one we're going to go over is by far my most complicated one. And that is going to be out of a cover 4 quarters. So let's just throw them in a random offense here yet again. And for this one, I have macro set up for if you're going against somebody who's really attacking the sideline when they see you're in a cover 4. And again, much like with cover 6, we could come out in this and just stay in this match if we wanted to. But we have different Mabel coverages set up. And if you don't know what that means, it's just... we're having 3 zones on a sideline is the basic explanation for it. Double Mabel means we're going to have 3 zones pretty much on both sidelines. Mabel to the left side, to the right side. So our double Mabel is going to look a little bit like this. Quite the change from the base cover 4. That's why macros are so nice. So we have 5-yard purple zones. That's the curl flat and the quarter flat. The light blue zones, the cloud flats on each side, are set to 20 yards. Then we have deep halves. We put a vert hook on one of our edges. That's why it's important. We were in a nickel set that used edges and not an outside linebacker, because I think that can, or not the 3D tackles, because it's not really going to work quite right. We have a 2-man stunt and a contain going over on the left. Of course, this is not going to be really great run defense. But if you're playing against somebody who's really just trying to attack either quick to the sidelines or floods to the sidelines, things like that, this should do a very good job. Now, every other zone we have gone over has been on aggressive setting. This one's actually going to be on conservative because of those cloud flats. I tested them on default and on aggressive, and in both of those, the cloud flats will come down even for a 10-yard route, even if they're set at 20, and will leave that intermediate area down that sideline wide open, whereas on conservative, they will sit back a little bit further. So this is going to be our double Mabel defense. We really have to, of course, they run the ball right away. The downside of this is it really does leave the middle of the field like wide open. That's part of the reason we have the vert hook where it is he actually a lot of times will just match on somebody who's trying to go quick from the right to the left. Now, is he fast enough to keep up? That's another issue, but as long as he's fast enough to make the user think for a second, that's all we're really looking for. So hopefully we're going to see a pass here from Missouri. So you can see that vert hook did go and match. I actually almost made a play on that. But that vert hook did go and match along with a person going deep down the middle here. And heck of an effort, really, by this big boy number 91. So even him just doing that, like he could probably lob that up to that wide receiver and get it, but are you going to risk that? And then he has to force this one in there, and that's an awful tight window throw too. Our user takes over the middle of the field. We got the 520, the deep half over here, just hanging out, waiting for somebody to get in there, get in that area. But 520, deep half back here too. So the double Mabel, a good thing to throw in there for somebody who's attacking the sidelines a lot. Specifically, both sidelines. Whereas if you have somebody who's really just going for one out of a certain formation, of course they're in this, you know what, let's just let them run this play. And then we'll hope they pick a little bit different. Oh, that's a nice play. Hope they pick a little bit different formation. That's going to work a little bit better for us. But that toss, oh my God, come on, Missouri, please. But that toss sure didn't seem to work quite how it should have there. We make a tackle on Hardy. Oh, overran it, but we're there. Luckily, his own guy got in the way there. Please, why do they keep coming out in this formation now? Stop coming out in this heavy I form formation. Let me do whatever they pick next. We're just rocking with it. We're just going to go with it, and we're going to pretend as best we can. Okay, this one's a little bit better. So, imagine you're going up against somebody, two receivers over to the left. And they're really trying to attack with like a deep corner over to that side. Outside receivers on a streak. That number 19's on like a deep corner route. And they have something going to the flat over there. Maybe the tight end, maybe the halfback. For that, we would actually want to go to the Mabel to the left-hand side. So now with this one, to the left, we're going to have our 5-yard purple zones to the left and to the right, which works out pretty nice for this formation. So if Hardy's sneaking out quick to the right, we'll have a 5-yard flat there. We have our 20-yard cloud on our outside corner. Then we have a deep outside third on our safety up there. Our other safeties going to an inside third. Our other corners going to an outside third. We have a 3-rec hook right here to help watch over the middle, and a hook curl right here to watch over the middle. Still going to be a 2-man stunt. Still going to be a contain on one side, but now that left sideline's pretty locked up. We're still going to have to watch over the middle. We're going to have to watch a seam streak here too. I'm hoping they actually throw this ball. So yeah, we just got to go take that quick seam. And of course they do a slip screen. Missouri really not working with us here in this video, but here we go. Now we can do one to the right, so same kind of thing, but now it's gonna be a Mabel to the right, where we have the 5-yard flat, the 20-yard flat, and an outside third, all gonna be guarding that right sideline. Other safety goes to a middle third, other corner goes to an outside third, defensive edge on a curl flat, 2-man stunt, and a contain, all done in 2 clicks of a button. Pretty dang handy if you ask me. So now we got the 2 zones over the middle. I mean, we could just put them in a flood or something to see how it works, but we're watching over the middle. We have our other hook watching over the middle. I just had to stick on that, and I didn't. I just had to stick on that, and I didn't, because I'm a big dummy. But you could see how well, let's see, let's pull up that replay quick and get an idea of what this defense was looking like, because I thought it looked pretty dang good on that one. Quick flat going out to the left, and because he's on conservative, he is going to back up a little bit more. There's no threat over in the flat on the left. I do wish he would kind of stay down a little bit better on this tight end, but eventually he does see him coming and tries to bite down. Then he has the comeback there, so he's kind of stuck in between. But that is a nice thing about the conservative, is that purple zone, and remember, that's a defensive end. So I can't really expect him to be out there making too many plays, but he's out there trying. He's out there trying his gosh darn best. Now, a big problem with this does seem to be right seam. Maybe we don't want a 3-rec hook. We could just put him on a hook curl, something that's going to kind of take away that seam a little bit. But then having that extra help defender over the middle is really, really handy, because there's just nowhere to go here. Never really has a chance to throw this outside receiver on the right, number 1. Those deep zones are going to get back over there. And with a better user, there was really nowhere to go, but kind of fell asleep there a little bit. So that should cover all the different macros that we have that cover 3s, 2s, 6s, and 4s. And I personally find these to be a great benefit. If you've messed around with it, let me know what you think. Let me know what you have set up. I'm sure there's some crazy ones you can do for man coverage and for some different zones too. But for me, in considering we're going to be using all the different defensive playbooks, I think setting a base in something like nickel, it can be 2-4, it can be over, it can be whatever, makes the most sense. It's going to allow us to play the best defense we possibly can. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. We'll be back with some more campus tours coming up here shortly. Not sure if there's going to be one. Let's see, this is coming out Friday, which Friday is going to be hit or miss. We're not going to do every single Friday. But if not, we'll have a campus tour for you tomorrow. Might be some more playbook reviews coming up here soon. Who could possibly say? From this point on, it's going to be pretty much whatever catches my interest the most as we go through these offensive playbooks of all 138 teams. So that's going to do it for this. We'll throw it over to the settings menu. I'll just scroll through those quickly if you're curious about how we have all of these set up, so you guys can take a look for yourselves. But yeah, that'll do it for this one. Well, except for that part. Hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys next time. Until then, take it easy.